Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Sunday edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, we will give you the caveat that even though these are for Sunday's games, we are taping this show early Friday evening. So any COVID news, any injury news that happens between now and then, you certainly keep your eye on it and do like we do and check the injury report before you ever make a bet every single time. Yeah, it's should be fun, Scott. We have a little injury news for the college game tonight. Apparently, the Minnesota Golden Gophers have been hit by the bug. So,
It doesn't appear good, but then again, we've talked about it before the show. That line's been flying all over the place. As for the NFL, you had Myles Garrett, for example, who now is not going to be available for the game against the Eagles, which we'll get into in a little while.
right.
Overall, it's been definitely impacting college teams pretty significantly. The NFL is still impacting a couple players here or there, but for the most part, I don't say this was a relatively quiet week for COVID news, but I would say that it's been I'd say that there have been worse weeks for COVID for the NFL.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rock and roll. You and I are going to take a look at every game here on the board. Got some good games, and we got some other games here. So let's start with one of the other games, Scott. Philadelphia invades Cleveland. Cleveland 3-point favorite, 47.5 is the number there. It's going to be played in lovely Cleveland, Ohio. No Myles Garrett, like you mentioned. Got a banged up offensive line for Cleveland. Who you got here?
For this one, I feel like this game could go either way. I'm going to lean to Cleveland personally. They played last week at home. They don't have to travel anywhere. Philly came out extremely flat against the Giants. This Eagles team isn't very good. They seem to find ways to stay competitive or at least to win games they shouldn't win. At least in previous years, that was the case. Garrett being out's a huge deal, but this Philly team and any team in the NFC East, besides maybe the Giants lately, you really just can't trust. I'll lean to Cleveland, but I'm not really happy about it.
Okay. I'm the same. I'm the same way. I don't love the Browns here in this spot. I don't love either team, but you've got to. I'm going to have to go with the home team here. I still think they've got a. The thing about it is, I think they're going to be able to run the ball on these Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't think they're going to have an answer for Chubb and for Kareem Hunt. So, yeah, very small lean for me as well, but I will play the hometown Brownies right there. And moving on, Scott, another fantastic battle here, and this is actually this could be fun. We've got some news to talk about here, and I'd like to get your opinion. It's going to be the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Superdome to take on the Drew Breesless the Saints of New Orleans. There, Saints 3.5-point favorite. 50 is your total. Scott, Taysom Hill over famous Jameis Winston. What do you think about that?
I do not agree with the decision. Then again, if you're paying Taysom Hill roughly $15 million and you're paying Jameis almost the league minimum, I feel like you kind of have to decide if you want to keep Hill for a little while longer. And if Hill plays well, then that's potentially your franchise quarterback for the future. And that's where the logic is. The only issue I have with it is that if Jameis was going to be the third stringer, then why did he come in off relief last week instead of Taysom Hill? That part doesn't add up to me. Does that part add up to you?
No, in fact, it's exactly the opposite of what Sean Payton said he was going to do. He said if they had an injury in the middle of the game, it was going to be Taysom Hill come in and finish out the game, and and then Winston would start the next game. So he did it exactly the opposite of how he said he was going to do it. I don't know. I thought Jameis was all right last week.
He was fine. Like, at the end of the day, the Saints were against the 49ers, and the 49ers, based on the current roster with all the injuries, are a bottom 10, arguably bottom 5 team based on the current roster.
Absolutely.
So he looked fine, but didn't play anybody that was actually of, I'd say, talent. So the question is, could Jameis translate? I thought he was serviceable. I would have gone to him. He has experience starting games. The issue I have with Taysom Hill is the fact that he's a gadget player who hasn't really thrown many passes in his career, and now he's starting his first career NFL game at the age of 30 when he's been in the league for a handful of years, and he has barely played quarterback.
Yeah, this doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to keep his eyes downfield when he starts to move laterally. I think
he strikes me as a one-read run guy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see him going through his progressions. I don't agree with the move. I like the Falcons here, Scott. I like the Falcons catching 3 and a hook. Don't look now, but this Falcons defense has actually been playing pretty well. They were gashed over the first 4 games, giving up almost 35 points per game. But over their last 5, they have been much better, giving up just 22 and a half points per game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Once they fired defensive genius Dan Quinn, it seems like their defense figured it out. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Weird coincidence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Saints' pass defense has been very good against bad quarterbacks, but they've given up 33 points per game against people with real quarterbacks like Las Vegas, Green Bay, Detroit, and I'm going to put the Chargers in that boat as well. I think they've got another one here. I don't think they're going to have an answer for Matty Ice, and he's finally got a healthy cadre of receivers. I don't know who finishes this game. I know Hill starts. I don't know who finishes it. I don't think it matters. I think the Falcons jump up and bite them here. I don't even hate you if you wanted to take the Falcons on the money line, getting a little sniff there at plus 150. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I'll take them with the 3.5 points.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I'm going to go with Atlanta plus the points. Couple reasons why. First of all, because of the Taysom uncertainty, that's definitely a huge factor. Second factor that people aren't talking about is the fact that Atlanta's off the bye. So they've had an extra week to actually prepare for the Saints. Now, I know that they're going to have to change up some of their defensive game plans because, of course, Breeze is not going to be playing, Jameis is not going to be playing, etc. But at least they can prepare for the Saints' defense for another week. So I do think the offense should be pretty dialed in. They should know exactly what to expect from the Saints, and I think they'll make enough adjustments. But having an extra week of preparation for a rivalry division game is huge. I liked Atlanta plus the points even before Breeze got injured. Now Breeze is out, and you have a questionable, unproven quarterback for New Orleans. There's a reason why this line has dropped. I'm going to take Atlanta plus the points.
Let me ask you this, just to play devil's advocate a little bit. You talk about Atlanta having to prepare differently for a team without Drew Brees. Do you think Taysom Hill and or Jameis Winston is able to stretch this defense a little bit where, that Drew Brees, we talked about it here on last week or a week before, where he'd only taken 7 shots of 20 yards or further down the field. Do you think having a quarterback with an arm that can actually, let's say, get it further than 20 yards down the field, is there any way that makes a difference against these Falcons?
For this week, I think maybe if Jameis was there, because he's shown throughout his entire career, whether he throws picks or not, he will stretch the ball downfield. That is what he's known for. That's what he's always done. Taysom, he's barely thrown passes, so I can't really equate that. He definitely provides another element in terms of mobility, but based on everything I've seen so far, I think that Taysom, until I actually see him in action, I'm going to assume he's going to be a one-read, mostly running quarterback, and they're going to try to rely on the ground game heavily. So I think that's why you've seen a lot of under money, and that's why you've seen Atlanta's number fall a little bit. I think this line should close around 3, maybe 2.5. But for right now, we'll take Atlanta plus 3.5.
All right, very fine. Moving on, taking a look there in North Carolina as the Detroit Lions travel to take on the Carolina Panthers in the battle of putrid blue colors. Panthers 2.5 point home dogs here.
Well, I see this line is varied a little bit. It's mostly going off the board. Mm-hmm. I know that there are a couple of books that currently have Detroit as -1, so this line has flown pretty decently over the last couple of days. Mostly because I feel Stafford news, plus Bridgewater might not play. Bridgewater's still questionable, so that remains up in the air. Stafford is going to play. He has an issue with one of his fingers, but either or, he's still going to be going.
He's got a thumb injury, and Bridgewater has a knee issue.
Yeah, but I'm saying Stafford's going to play. Bridgewater's a maybe, so that's why you have seen some movement in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think Bridgewater's going to play. That's just my hunch. But if he doesn't, I want no part of this bet. This is going to be a game time decision to me. I'm just going to have to eat whatever line movement there is, because I want no part of this Panthers team without Teddy Bridgewater. As it is, I would take him. I'll take him as a small home dog, but that is completely contingent on Teddy Bridgewater going.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a short video because I'm also with you, assuming Bridgewater plays. The issue I have with Detroit is the same issue I've always had with Detroit. I don't know how Matt Patricia still has a job. I also am not fully sure how Detroit's record is 4-5 because every time I watch them play, they look like they're 2-17. But at the end of the day, Carolina has not been great at home. They've been struggling a lot defensively over the last couple of weeks. They're in the middle of a pretty long losing streak. But if you look at who they've played against, really, really tough competition. And Detroit was up once again double digits against Washington before blowing it and then having to rely on a roughing the passer penalty to
Terrible.
win late in the fourth quarter. Look at who Carolina's played, though. They've lost each of their last 5. They played Chicago, winning record. Saints, winning record, of course. Falcons, who are not good, but they have played a lot better over the last couple of weeks. Chiefs, they lost to by 2, and then the Buccaneers. They've had a very, very difficult gauntlet right now. Detroit has had a little bit of an easier schedule lately, and I think that Carolina, I just like the coaching more. I think Rule's going to coach circles around Patricia. Both defenses aren't very good, and I think Carolina should have enough of or at least a good enough game plan to take advantage of Detroit's self-inflicted mistakes, which plague them every single game they play.
You know, I'll tell you, and again, to play devil's advocate against my own position here, I don't love the fact that Carolina's line is banged up. It looks like Okung isn't going to go. John Miller's probably not going to go. A little bit of questions on the defense. Dante Jackson's doubtful.
Yeah, but the lines have no receivers.
Yeah, that's the
Marvin Jones, and you got some Amendola and a little bit of Marvin Hall, but
Amendola's out.
Amendola is out. Then I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're missing Galladay. You're missing.
Yep.
They don't have many receivers either. So
that's the whole thing.
Hawkinson's still banged up,
and they're missing their running back.
Hawkinson will probably play, but he's banged up, and DeAndre Swift's not playing. So
that's the thing. Detroit had a little bit of success the last couple of weeks running the football with DeAndre Swift, and that will not be the case.
You have to revert back to Adrian Peterson,
right? Yeah, AP, and that's AP and Hawkinson, I guess, is what you're going to be looking at. Marvin Jones, but Marvin Jones is going to be seeing double all day long. So
you should.
Good luck there. Give me Carolina in spite of their injuries. Another game I don't love, but
Bridgewater's not in though. Of course, I don't want the action. Just like you put it before.
Exactly. Pat's going to Texans. Scott, Texans at home catching 2. Another home dog here. I'll take them. I'll take the dog. I just I'm not a believer in this Patriots team at all. I know they played good lately, but
I can't really say that they played well for about 5 quarters.
Well, okay, they played better.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this is another gun to my head, flip a coin kind of thing. But I'll take the Texans. I'll take the team with the better offense. I'm so not sold on Cam at all as quarterback for the Patriots. So I'm going to give me a couple points. I'll take them. Give me the Texans at home +2.
Well, when we finally have a disagreement, I'm going to lean to New England.
Right.
Houston is they're just making no progress right now. They have 2 wins all season long. The season's basically a lost cause. I know last week they lost 10-7. You had the Chubb should have been touchdown to make it even more of a blowout. Plus, you had Watson leading them on an 80-yard drive for the first touchdown of the game late in the fourth quarter.
You know what? Just write that game off.
The weather was not good. But I'm just saying that the game, they covered the spread, but it was really a pretty fluky cover if you really break it down. But looking at how they've played lately, they barely beat Jacksonville. They got killed by Green Bay. They ended up losing to Tennessee. They just haven't played well. I know New England struggled against the Jets for 3 quarters. They won that game. Baltimore, they were great. But if you want to write off the Cleveland game for weather, you might have to write off the Baltimore game for weather as well, because that was just a disaster in a monsoon.
Yep,
I'm leaning New England because I just think that they're a better coach. And Romeo Crennel has been a head coach in numerous spots in his career, and they always end the same. Not very good. So when in doubt, I'll take Belichick as a slight favorite.
All right, very good. Can't argue with that logic. Steelers at the Jags. Steelers -10. 46 is the number there. Gardner Minshew's got back. Scott, are you excited?
Is he officially going to be playing in this?
He's not officially going. He's back practicing. Game time decision, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, because I'm sure his first matchup, they're going to love to throw him against the Steelers defense right off the IR.
Yeah, that could definitely be not pretty at all. In place, perhaps just as big a news, Jaguars are going to be down cornerback as Henderson's we got put on IR. So we'll have to see what happens if they get DJ Hayden back, because if they don't get DJ Hayden back for this game, which he's, again, kind of a game time decision, is going to cause a lot of havoc there in the defensive backfield. You're going to see a lot of new faces, a lot of rookies back there. And I think may not be pretty for this game. Honestly, Scott, I don't know how this Jaguars team scores. They're not a great offensive team under the best of circumstances.
Pittsburgh's great against the run as well, so Robinson should be bottled up to some degree.
Yep. Agreed. I like the under. I think this number's been set a little bit high there at 46. So I'll play the Jags in this one.
Yeah,
I'll play the under. Sorry, play the
yeah.
Jags.
For me, I'm going to lean to Pittsburgh. I'll lean to the under. I know that Mike Tomlin is the king of not getting his team prepared well enough against bottom feeder opponents. It's been the MO his entire career. Having said all that, Jacksonville is beyond terrible. Pittsburgh is clicking. I know you mentioned the injury to Henderson, potentially Hayden not being there. Pittsburgh also has so many good receivers. Deontay Johnson being healthy is a huge, return, as he's been pretty solid lately. Claypool's great. Juju's been good over the last couple of weeks. They got a lot of weapons there. And Jacksonville offensively has been
the only team with three receivers over 500 yards, by the way.
Yeah, so they've been very, very good. Plus, Ebron's a pretty good tight end as well. But looking at Jacksonville, their offense isn't very good. Their defense isn't very good. If Pittsburgh wants to win this game by a ton, they will. Jacksonville, everyone knew going into the year they were basically tanking. The team isn't very good. I'm going to lean to the under. I think Pittsburgh will get up to an early lead, take their foot off the gas a little bit late, but I can see them winning this game somewhere around 31-10.
Yeah, that's legit. I think Pittsburgh. I think exactly that's what happens. They get up and they just grind it out on the ground for the last quarter and a half or so. Jacksonville's also going to be without Chenault, so he's kind of a Swiss Army knife guy that they've used in running situations.
It's mostly going to be the Cole and Chark show if they're really going to be trying to put up points, and I don't know how well it's going to work out against the Steeler pass rush.
Yeah, they've got Tyler Eifert, but they actually throw the ball to O'Shaughnessy just about as much, and he's going to be gone as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where the points come from. Now this Jacksonville team did hang with Green Bay last week.
Weather was also really, really bad.
Was very windy up there in Green Bay. So we'll see what happens. I think that's kind of a one-off for both of those teams.
Plus, Jacksonville also had a special teams touchdown in that game.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, give me the under 46 there. Bengals and the Washington football team. It's going to be in Washington right now. The team is a 1-point favorite. 46.5 is the number there. Your thoughts?
Personally, I think the wrong team's favored. I know Washington was competitive against Detroit last week, had the big comeback. Alex Smith put up a ton of yards. I watched this team play, really, really not impressed. I think that Washington is a team that should be better than the current record, but they lose a lot of close games, so they don't really finish games out. And they just seem to really struggle offensively for the majority of bare minimum first half. This team gets off to really slow starts. I know Smith ended up having a lot of yards in the end. A lot of that was because Detroit went to an early prevent up 20 points. It was really dumb by Patricia and company, but Smith took advantage of a lot of really, really easy yards underneath. Cincinnati got killed by Pittsburgh last week. The weather was terrible. Pittsburgh's very good. They ended up beating Tennessee. They ended up covering against Cleveland. They covered against Indianapolis. They've had a really tough schedule over the last 4 weeks, or even 5 weeks if you include Baltimore the week prior. So even though their record might not be good, they are 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 games, with the 3 covers being against playoff teams. So I really think that Cincinnati might be the better team. And when in doubt, I will take Burrow over Alex Smith in a heartbeat. So for me, I'm going to lean to the Bengals. I think that Washington being favored is a little bit questionable, especially since home field doesn't mean much. I'll take Burrow, and I'll take that receiving core.
Yeah, I'm going to fade the Cincinnati defense in this one, and I'm going to actually fade both defenses.
You're going to go with the over?
Yeah, I'm going to take the over. You know, Washington is a team that struggles to run the football, but Cincinnati is just dreadful at rush defense, 31st in the league at yards per carry. I think this is going to be the perfect kind of game for Alex Smith, where he's able to hand the ball off and take a little pressure off himself and not have to throw the ball in obvious passing situations.
I'm assuming you expect Burrow to have a big game, right?
You know what? If he has time to throw, because the Skins, the one thing they do well is they do get after the pass.
I'm just saying, because Stafford kind of torched them last week.
Yeah, I definitely see that if he has time to throw, that I think there's a good chance that he has a great game. But I hope that'll be the case, because I like the over 46.5 here quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd lean to the over as well.
Titans Ravens, Scott. Possible playoff preview there. Titans 5-point road dogs against the Baltimore Ravens.
I see roughly 6.
49.5 gone up to, you got it at 6 now.
I see Titans roughly 6. The over-under is at 49.5.
That has gone up to 6. You are correct. I'll take the points. This is a Ravens team I don't think that likes to get hit in the mouth very much. And this is a Titans team that's all they do is hit you in the mouth. They're just going to pound Henry. I know this is kind of a revenge game, if you will, for Baltimore over the unceremonious dumping that the Titans gave them last year in the playoffs. But I think 6 points is just too many. I think the Ravens are about a field goal better than the Titans here. I'll take the extra 3 points and go with the Titans plus the 6.
Well, we're seeing things kind of similarly today because I'm taking the points with Tennessee as well. In addition to Baltimore, in my opinion, not being good enough to be a 6-point favorite in the spot based on current performance, the thing you also have to remember is that Tennessee's had a couple of extra days to prepare because their last game was on Thursday night. So they also had some time to get some players healthier. They had time to actually prepare. And Baltimore, after facing off against a physical New England team on Sunday night and now having a rest disadvantage at home here, I think that Baltimore could win the game. But the issue I have with Baltimore, do they score enough points to actually cover big numbers? And the answer is probably not.
Yeah, I don't.
The offensive line is really, really banged up for Baltimore, which is not a fun time for a team that loves to run the ball.
Yep, agreed. All right, going to the Mile High City as the Red Hot Dolphins come to town to take on the Denver Broncos. Line on this one as we stand right now is Miami minus 3.5, and 45.5 is your total. So there's been a little bit of Bronco money come in, Scott. And
yeah, just to go quickly, I love the Dolphins in this spot. I put a sprinkle on them to win the division a couple weeks ago. They haven't lost since, which is a good sign. But unfortunately, Buffalo keeps winning. But except last week. But Miami is just so consistent in all three phases. Tua. Don't get me wrong, the offense could be more dynamic, which it's not. I'm aware of that. But it's serviceable, and they don't turn the ball over that much. The defense has been great, and the special teams is very, very good. And one thing to know about Denver, Drew Lock, I know that you've talked about him in the past, and you didn't think he was an NFL quarterback. Wow, is he imploded. It's gone really, really bad. And last week against the Raiders when he threw, what was it, 4 picks?
Yeah.
That was not good. A couple of them really, really bad. He did the red zone one, which was brutal. But
the goal line was brutal.
Minnesota, not Minnesota. Miami's been great at forcing turnovers and capitalizing. Drew Lock has been a turnover machine over the last couple of weeks. I think Miami gets up early. I think they'll use their physical nature to impose their will on Denver. And I do think that Tua will use the play-action game to create some holes in this Denver defense that has been very, very injured all season long. I understand that Denver is always a very tough place to play, which is probably why we're getting money on Denver. But I got to take Miami. This team right now is extremely consistent. And against a team that is imploding like Denver, consistency is what you dream for. So I'm going to go with Miami.
I'm going to take the under here. I don't think this Dolphins defense is going to give up much to the Broncos and Drew Lock. I think the league is starting to get a book on young Mr. Lock, and he has not adjusted well to their adjustments yet. I don't think the Broncos put up many points here. I think the Dolphins have a lot of long sustained drives going down the field. Tua is kind of seems to be the master right now, keeping the chains moving, and that's what I see happening there. A lot of clock running off. Give me the Dolphins Broncos under 45.
Okay.
I got your Jets going out to the Chargers, Scott. What's up with the Chargers defensive backfield? By the way, the Jets defensive backfield. The Chargers minus 9.5, 46, by the way.
Yeah, I'm confused by what the Jets are doing. They decided to cut the seer while they're trying to tank. So if he's that bad, you probably should have kept him. But yeah, that was a little joke. But yes, the Jets are not very good. Of course, they're off the bye. You'll wonder how they play after that pretty decent performance on Monday night before the fourth quarter against the Patriots. For this one, I'm actually going to be leaning to the over. At 46, I know money has come in towards the under as it opened up to 47, down to 46. Chargers defense has been a disaster. Jets defense, everyone knows, is a disaster. And Justin Herbert is very, very good. So I can see the Chargers scoring 30. I think that Joe Flacco, with this receiving core when healthy, Perriman's pretty good, Crowder's pretty good, And Mims, I think, is a pretty good rookie. So they do have some weapons in the receiving core. And after the Chargers traded arguably their best corner for a middle round pick to Tennessee, the defense, of course, got worse. So Chargers, I actually think Flacco is going to move the ball a little bit, and I think the Chargers should move the ball pretty well as well. So for that reason, I'm going to take the over.
Okay. Yeah, Jets are healthy in the receiving end for the first time in a long time.
And the receivers look pretty good against New England.
Yeah, Mims especially had a great game. Crowder did nothing because we had
Crowder did nothing. He had the touchdown. Perriman had 2 touchdowns, but yes.
The only pass he caught, we had him in the prop, and it didn't do any good for us. I'm just going to lay the wood here with the Chargers. I'm not going to overthink it. I think Herbert's going to torch this Jets defensive backfield. The Jets are going to take some shots.
I think they'll convert on some shots against the secondary. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Again, I'm looking at Joe Flacco under pressure because I think that the Chargers are going to certainly do their best to get some heat on Joe Flacco. They've got Bosa back and healthy. They've got Ingram back and healthy. There aren't a lot of pairs of pass rushers that are better than that anywhere in the NFL. So I'm going to just lay the wood with the Chargers and not think about it.
Okay.
Now it should be an interesting game here, Scott, as we've got the Packers coming into Indianapolis to take on the surprising Colts. Colts certainly seem to be on a heater lately. They have charged into the lead there in the AFC South. 2-point favorites over the Packers. 51 is the total. What you got here?
I'm taking the Colts. I know that people love the idea of Rodgers in a dome, which I can't blame you for. But the issue I have with Green Bay is the issue I've had with them all year long. They can't stop the run to save their lives. And if there's one thing the Colts are really, really good at, it is the offensive line. And I do think that in the trenches, they should dominate. You have to wonder with the ground game, though, because Taylor's been a disaster so far this season. Jordan Wilkins hasn't been great either. However, Hines was really, really good on Thursday night, and he had a lot of success on the ground. I expect them to ride him moving forward because he appears to have the hot hand, also a good pass catcher in the backfield. The issue you have to wonder with Rivers, of course, is how he will do under pressure because he's not very good when he's being blitzed. I think that the offensive line should hold up against Green Bay. Plus, Green Bay's secondary's had some injury issues, Jair Alexander, et cetera, for the last couple of weeks. I think the Colts, especially with a couple extra days off, having played on Thursday night the week prior at home, should do enough to win and cover. Plus, Indianapolis still has one of those underrated defenses in the entire league. I think they could give Rodgers some problems. And for that reason, I'm going to lean to the Colts. I think the spread is a little bit too low.
Yeah, I think you're going to turn Rodgers one-dimensional. I think the Colts are going to really do a good job of shutting down the Green Bay running game. And that's going to leave them free to tee off on the passer. Like you said, quick show today, Scott. Colts -2. Same thing I have. Cowboys going to Vikings. Vikings -7. 48 is your total right there. Scott, I have zero confidence in this Cowboys defense, but I'm not really thrilled about the Vikings defense either. I'm just going to go ahead and take the Cowboys offense out of the equation and the Vikings defense. I'm going to play the team total over 27.5 on the guys in purple.
Okay, so for this one, I'm going to hold my nose and take the points with the Cowboys. It's mainly because of just spot. Cowboys coming in off a bye. Minnesota played Monday night. I don't think that's really a good spot for Minnesota in terms of rest. I know Cousins looked pretty sharp against Chicago. As a whole, the offense was pretty underwhelming. I know Chicago's defense, of course, is a lot better than Dallas's. But looking at what we've seen lately, Minnesota should win this game. But Dallas did hang tough against Pittsburgh in their last game. I do know that Dalton's going to be back, so they should look a little bit more confident, hopefully at least, after Dalton's awful game against Washington. But Minnesota, don't get me wrong, they're playing better, but I do think the spread is a little bit too high for a team that is a little bit offensively challenged. So for that reason, I think Minnesota should win, but I do think that this game will be within 6. So for that reason, I'll take the points. I'm not really thrilled with it, but hold my nose, I'll take the Cowboys.
All right, yeah, I like it. Vikings rushing offense against just a dreadful Dallas rush defense. They are just bottom of the barrel. They're 31st in rushing yards, 30th in yards per carry. I think the Vikings just hammer the Cowboys there, and when Cousins can do his thing and run off a play action, he's a lot better, and I think that's what we're going to have in this one. So, Chiefs, Raiders, Chiefs -7.
I see 7 or roughly 8.5 or so.
Let me see.
It really varies because the Raiders' defense or a decent portion of the secondary is now in COVID protocol.
Yeah, and actually,
So
it's off the board here on Bet Online. Do you have it on the board somewhere?
I see roughly around 8.5 or 9.
Well, I think it sounds like just about everybody's going to be back as long as they test
They
negative.
should be, but the issue is they're not going to be practicing all week.
I understand. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not. I'll tell you what makes a difference to me. Andy Reid, 18-3 off of a bye. 3 times with the Kansas City Chiefs, he has faced the Raiders coming off of a bye since 2016. They've won all 3 of those games by at least 7 points and an average of 18 points per game. Yeah, 7 to 8.5 makes a difference. I don't really care. I'm laying the wood here. Wait for a number in this, because when everybody's announced as being able to play, I think that number comes back down a little bit. So you may not come back down to 7, but I think we can catch it at 7.5.
No, I think that's definitely possible. For me, I'm looking at Kansas City and I'm looking at the over potentially, but I'm going to lean to Kansas City for the sake of this, for what I like more. It's a revenge spot for Kansas City. They lost the opener it was the first matchup, against Vegas. Offense looked good for about a half, then fell apart in the second half, didn't do anything. Defense was terrible. It's gotten a lot better since. The issue I have with Vegas is that even though they are pretty good at running the ball and, moving the ball with Derek Carr, defense was good against Drew Lock, but as a whole, this defense isn't very good. And in the secondary in particular, I think they'll have some serious problems, especially with Sammy Watkins, who's projected to be back in the lineup, which I think is a big deal.
Yep.
Andy Reid off a bye is a wizard. I'll go with the Chiefs in this one. I think Kansas City is going to look to put the beating on, and I think they will be able to do so. So I'll lean to Kansas City.
Okay. Rams and Bucks. Bucks minus 448. That's going to be the Sunday night game.
That is the Monday night game.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's
the Chiefs game's a Sunday night, so we just.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Okay,
yeah, we finished everything.
We're not going to talk about that one. We're done.
Yeah, we kind of agreed on pretty much the majority of these games, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So that means it's going to be a terrible week for both of us.
We'll see what happens, but I'm just saying we're definitely in a little bit of uncharted territory.
I agree. A lot of consensus out there. So, all right, man, that wraps it up. So appreciate everybody stopping by to check us out. Want to know what you're playing, man? Drop us a line in the comment section. This is the day when I really want to know what you guys are on. What do you got cooked up for the NFL? Scott, you got any final thoughts on this NFL card?
Not really. I am hoping once again that the games will be played without any more COVID outbreaks, which seems to be a growing theme to end my videos. I end everything on the COVID caveat. But it's nice that we're halfway through the football season. Things appear to be in full swing, and pretty soon you're going to have some pretty intense playoff pushes. So hopefully those pushes deliver and produce some pretty solid content for the next couple of weeks.
Good. I like it. All right, man. Well, we appreciate everybody stopping by and checking us out. Have a great weekend. Wish you not only good luck on all these games, but good luck on your Saturday games as well. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys are the best. Appreciate it. Don't forget to give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And, we'll just do it next time. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, don't forget to check out Winners and Whiners. You know the drill. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.